Hello, everyone. Welcome to BizChicks TV. This is the place where you can find tips and tools to help you do business better. We're here to help you run a profitable business that's fun to run and to take the hassle out of your hustle. And today we are here talking tech with Tech Life Weekly and the Tech Divas. I'm here with my friend and colleague, Miss Francie Gregory, real estate entrepreneur and tech diva, and I'm Terralina from California Cover Ups, and we're the Biz Chicks. We hope to be joined shortly by TJ, all the way from New York City, Miss Terry Johnson online everywhere. And in addition to that, we want you to know that we have some tech history for you, and we're going to get this party started. What do you have today for us,
Well,
Fran,
good morning, everybody.
this week in tech history?
Yes, I'm just going to start with April 1st. Yeah, 'cause today is the 5th.
Mhm.
Oh, well, maybe not. Yeah. Okay, because I'm a movie buff and we might need to do some stuff for Dr. Tachi, I am going to
Okay.
start with movie trivia. March 31st, 1999, the hugely successful motion picture The Matrix is
Mm.
released on this day. Many call it a classic and many call it influential, but no one can deny the impact that it had on the many aspects of our society, from the emerging tech culture to the movie industry to
Mhm.
science fiction to political thinking. The Matrix won 4 Oscars, grossed over 463 million on a budget of 63 million, and was the first DVD to sell over 3 million copies.
Wow.
And there were some really great quotes from the movie, including "Free your mind," and then "Dodge this." Okay, only the people who have watched this would know this. There is no spoon. Don't
Mm.
think you are. Know you are. Welcome to the real world. If you take the red pill, you stay in Wonderland, and I'll show you how deep the rabbit hole goes. So it was a really good movie. It's still a classic. I still watch it whenever it comes on the reruns, and I do have a DVD of it, but I
You
don't
know,
have a DVD player.
I was going to say you don't have anything to play.
So somebody gave me a set of them,
Mhm.
and I do have a DVD player that plugs into my computer. Well, it's actually a CD drive something. Anyway,
A CD-ROM drive. Hmm.
something like that. So technically, I can watch it if I wanted to, but I can just probably go to Netflix or somewhere and watch it there. In April 1st, 1826,
Hmm.
Samuel Morey patents the internal combustion engine.
Hmm.
Yes.
Why do we
Uh,
associate these
author,
things with Edison? I don't know why. Because with the or Henry Ford or so. What was this
right.
guy's name?
Samuel Morey
Hmm. Okay.
in the internal combustion engine, and that was 1826. 1926 would have made it 100. 2026 would make it 200 years old, right?
Yes.
And
And
now
that,
EVs, or electric vehicles, are now becoming more standardized, where his internal combustion, he's been reigning for almost 200 years with this tech.
I think he's got his juice out of that, and we're still using it. What, to go to the moon?
I don't,
These rocket
because it's
engines.
right, and it's a different, and it's the internal combustion engine.
Mhm.
It was a lot more dangerous than electric vehicles were out in the 1800s, 1900s.
Yes, because Mrs. Ford had one. I remember
Yes.
you sharing that with us.
Yeah, and it was a lot more safe, and you wasn't cranking it up,
And
crossing
blowing
your
yourself
fingers that
away.
thing didn't blow up when you.
Mhm.
So the internal combustion engine, also known as ICE. So if someone talks to you, I have an ICE vehicle. What does that mean? Internal combustion engine vehicle.
Yeah, I wouldn't have known what they were talking about.
Right. April 1st, 1976, the Apple Computer Company is formed by Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak in order to sell their personal computer kits, later known as the Apple I computer, launching the personal computer revolution. From this point on, the word Apple is associated as much as for computers as it is for fruit.
I like that.
April 1st, 2004, the Gmail service is launched as an invitation-only beta service. At first met with skepticism due to its being launched on April Fool's Day, the ease of use and speed that Gmail offered for a web-based email service quickly won converts. The fact that Gmail was invitation only for a long time helped fuel the mystique that those who had a Gmail address were hip and uber cool.
Mm-hmm.
I can remember, waiting to be, on the invitation list, waiting to be able to do Gmail. Now everybody can do a Gmail.
And multiple Gmails.
Yeah, multiple.
Yes.
April 2nd, 1973, the first computerized legal search service, Lexis, is launched at a press conference in New York City. The name was coined from the Latin word lex, meaning law, and the letters IS for information service, featuring only the full text searches of New York and Ohio state case law at launch. The goal of Lexis was to allow law firms to access their legal databases directly without the need of an intermediary professional such as a librarian. Legal offices would access Lexis through dedicated terminals, which was an impressive feat since this was well before personal computing had made its become mainstream. By 1974, Lexis was hosted on an IBM System 370 model 155 mainframe and had added the entire United States code. It took until 1980 for Lexis to complete entering all U.S. federal and state cases. It was not until February 2020 that the databases were transitioned to internet cloud hosting and legacy mainframes shut down. So you can access the legal library online. Before, that's how, remember, you see the lawyer,
the interns.
The interns was running to go get books off a shelf and looking up stuff. Right.
They were doing the research. They did the research.
Yes, but now they could do the research by doing it through computerized searching instead of
going
to the you remember the law library had the books behind them. It had all the law library books, and you would go and pull a book, kind of like the Encyclopedia Britannica for law. Okay.
And I would imagine that when you're looking up a particular case, that was probably on microfiche or some kind of storage, some kind of database that you had to access.
Right. So, and remember here, the first two places were Ohio and New York. That, they didn't have anything from the other 50 states. I was like, wow, that's a lot.
Because you're citing precedents, and if you don't have the information, how are you going to do it?
April 2nd, 1980, Microsoft announces its first hardware product, the Z80 soft card. The soft card is a microprocessor that plugs into the Apple II personal computer, allowing it to run programs written for the CP/M operating system. CP/M was very popular operating system for early personal computers,
Mm.
along with much of the software written for it. In particular, the word processor, WordStar, is so
Mm.
popular that people will purchase the soft card and a companion 80-column card just to run it on Apple II. At one point, the soft card product will bring in about half of Microsoft's total revenue. It
Mm.
will be discontinued in 1986 as CPM's popularity declined.
That's interesting.
Right. And there's a picture here and it says, turn your Apple into the most versatile personal computer. So Microsoft was making software that would run on an Apple
Mm-hmm.
computer, which they do today.
They will run on other operating systems. That's the word I was looking for.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
April 3rd, 1966, the Soviet space probe Luna 10 becomes the first spacecraft to orbit around the moon. It was launched by the USSR from an Earth orbiting platform on March 31st, 1966. Luna 10's battery will operate for 460 lunar orbits before deactivating as planned on May 30th, 1966.
Mm.
And my final story, the first cell phone call, April 3rd, 1973, Martin Cooper makes the first cell phone call on a New York City street. And he was using one of them brick phones.
I was going to say one of those satellite brick phones.
It was the brick phone. That thing was heavy.
It's very heavy, yes.
Well, you could, like TJ talks a lot about tools. Your tech can be a tool or it can be a weapon. So that was tech in history. And now I'm going to talk about some tech that's making history.
Mm.
And this one is, I got a few of them if I need to stretch time, but
No, I've got a couple.
okay, cool.
We can
So
always come
tech
back.
making history, Google may charge you to search with AI. After
What?
nearly 25 years of its flagship product being free, the search engine king is thinking about asking you to chip in.
Mm.
Google is considering charging for AI-powered features. This is the Financial Times reporting this. The
Mm-hmm.
change would mark the first time that the company has made anyone pay for search. This is a signal that even one of the most dominant tech companies isn't sure how to deal with the competitive threat of ChatGPT. How this would work. Regular old Google wouldn't change, but you could also get a paid subscription to a version of the search engine powered by Google's AI tech, Gemini. AI chatbots have gained popularity as an alternative to Google because they can provide a complete, thorough answer to a question that you might otherwise have to sift pages of links to find. Now, I use Gemini and it does give you where the stories are located. Like it'll say from Wikipedia or it'll come from whatever the source was. It does tell you where they pulled that data.
So it will give you a citation so you can
Yeah.
put a footnote in your research paper.
Right. And I mean, because that's what you're using the search for, right? To research data. But AI isn't cheap. One former Google employee said that using AI to power a search engine is eye-wateringly expensive due to the vast amount of computing required. Google's next move could have enormous implications for the future of search. An AI-powered engine could disrupt the ad market and make it harder for websites to generate traffic.
Mm-hmm.
And that is your week in tech news or tech history and tech making history.
Well, thank you so much.
Mm-hmm.
I've got a couple of things that I wanted to share. I think I want to start with talking about coffee because I know you love coffee.
I have a coffee alternative now, but I like the flavor and I like the flavor of it.
Well, my daughter is hooked on coffee, and she has one of those Keurig devices that you can sit on your desk at work
Yes,
and it brews your coffee. So
yes.
there've been some updates to that, and I wanted to share a little video from over here on YouTube to show you what they've got coming up in the world of coffee.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see if I can share my screen and get this going here. And go full screen. Can you see that?
Oh yeah, I can see it.
Okay, let me see. I'm going to start it and let me know.
You know the K cups, these plastic pods for the Keurig machines? Well, Keurig just found a way to get rid of the plastic. Now they have something called the K round. It has no plastic at all. You just pop this into the machine. Let me show you how it works. Keurig has created these tightly packed coffee pods. They're called K rounds. And you just hold them in your hand. They have this plant-based coating that keeps it all together. If you break it apart, you can see and feel the grounds, and it smells great. Now on these rounds, they can print on here different things to indicate to the machine what kind of coffee are you putting in it and what does it need to do to brew? Is it an espresso shot, a drip coffee, that sort of thing. These rounds need a special machine. So this one here is called the Keurig Alta. It's targeted to launch sometime in the back half of next year. But you pop it in like you would a pod. Now this is just a sample model, but when it's done, it'll drop into a bin all completed as whole like this. It's not falling apart. That's what's most fascinating to me, is that when the whole round is used up, it's still kind of intact. It's not making a big mess. The one I'm holding here is about a month old. And since it's all plant-based, it's easy to compost. This is just an example of the machine. We don't get to really taste it yet, but there is something we can taste. I want to show you another machine that's coming out later this year that brews cold coffee. So this is the first Keurig machine that can brew hot coffee and have it come out cold. It's called the Keurig Brew and Chill. And I just had myself a really cold cup of coffee, but look at this pod. It's warm. So it brews out hot. And then in the back, it's sent to cool down very quickly and then come out of the machine cold. So you don't have to have ice in your iced coffee. And it works with any existing pod right now. So you don't need to buy special pods for this. Now I asked about cleaning. Apparently it's no different than how you clean another machine for descaling. So it's not like you have to fuss with a lot of stuff in the back. You just, like any machine, you put your water in and then this cold whole section back here doesn't take any maintenance. You can still get a hot cup of coffee. It's whatever you want. You can choose if you want it hot or cold. We don't have a price announced yet, but we're told this should be coming out later this year. And if your kitchen needs something smaller, well, there are another batch of machines coming down the line. This is the smallest Keurig right now on the market. It's called the K Mini, but oh, it's getting tinier, guys. It's getting more tight, more compact. I love color in the kitchen. So many little choices we could choose from. It's so little. It's so little. I like a little pizzazz. This is cute pizzazz. Here's the water container, holds about 14 ounces. Although we don't have an exact price yet, we're told this is going to be on the cheaper side. As a Keurig user, I am excited about the idea of not having so much plastic garbage in the world, but let me know in the comments what you think about the rounds. Thanks for watching.
I like the idea of less plastic in the world.
Yes, because I went to my hairdresser and they just put in the little Keurig brew station for for the customers and stuff.
Yes.
And one of the things that they wanted to do was not have things that could not be recycled. Well, I think I need to tell them about this one because I'm like the little pods instead of the little plastic things, they got
Yes.
pods. This is
And
good.
I don't know if it's for sale yet. That she said, she didn't know if it was available yet, but it is.
Yeah, they're going to be bringing it out.
Yeah.
And like I said, I have an alternative to coffee, And I think people make pods that have alternative coffee, right?
Base.
So, because the pods are made by a lot of people, the pods that go in the Keurigs are made by a lot of different people.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So, and there's something else I saw on NBC, and I'm sure that TJ is familiar with this. The fact that AI influencers are becoming quite common. So I wanted to share the video from, what is it, ABC, where they showed these teenagers creating these AI influencers. And I thought I was fascinated by it. So if you give me a moment, I'll pull up the video and
Okay. That sounds interesting. I think I did read something
uh-huh.
about AI influencers. So this is interesting.
Let's see what they got to say here.
Writing essays, it's also entered the world of social media influencing. You can find a variety of profiles with a large following, but how do they keep it? The one company behind these AI influencers are enlisting the experts on everything trendy, teenagers. And they're not just telling them how to stay relevant, but also pointing out what could be done better. ABC's Emmanuel Saliba with the details.
You might have come across one of these influencers on your social feeds without realizing that not a single one is human.
They all have different names and personalities.
Well, my favorite ones are Agnes, and she's kind of like a dark academia, like a writer.
Sid, which is like a seaside kind of seaweed girl.
And then there's Billy, who's like this cowboy, and then he's also like a drag queen, which I think is pretty cool.
These AI influencers were created with the help of humans like 16-year-old Sawyer and Eden. They are paid by a startup called Leap, which says it's creating an ecosystem of AI-driven micro-influencers they call entities.
So we have co-creators that help with actual entity development. So the virtual influencer themselves, what do they look, feel, move through the world like? But also, what is the content that they're putting forward?
Sawyer and Eden were part of a small group testing the concept earlier this year.
You click on some images, just kind of sort through them.
You're like, oh, this one is like too symmetrical, or it's like too perfect.
See, she's got only 4 fingers, it looks like. And she's also eating full apples with chopsticks. That's not realistic.
Like this one, for example, I think that's like very much what Agnes likes. So like I just like go in and like pick it, and then it gets sent, and that's really it.
Lead says they will soon launch another group of creators who will be able to control an AI persona via an app. But this startup isn't the first to venture into the world of entirely synthetic influencers. In 2016, another company introduced Lil Miquela, an AI-generated character with a total fan base of over 7 million across platforms. And it's not just the large following. Miquela is partnering with brands like BMW, PacSun, and more.
I think I realized that AI influencers were here to stay when I started seeing them doing video and doing it in mass, right? Because first it popped up with Miquela a couple of years ago, and it was kind of cool because she looked a little uncanny valley. You could tell that she wasn't quite real. It was interesting what technology could do. And then they started doing video, and it would be, doing a hair video, and they were talking about how they love their new hair product, but it wasn't real.
Human influencers like Danae Mercer are warning their followers to be careful about what they consume on social media.
It is not even based in the foundations of reality. It is not taking my face and popping a filter on it. It is creating something probably to suit the male gaze that is hyper realistic. So I hope you have brands saying like, wait a second, she doesn't have hair. Should we actually sponsor her for a hair campaign? She doesn't work out. Should she really be taking our supplements? Her body is not real. But what about the teenage girl that looks at this very delicate, impossible standard of beauty and starts comparing herself to that, and sees brands endorsing that, and sees that person getting Instagram fame, which in today's world is currency for teenagers? What about that girl? And that is where Instagram and social media needs to step in and say, this isn't real, this isn't real, this isn't real.
Now that I've kind of familiarized myself with a lot of different AI images and, what to kind of look for. It's easier to point out the kinds of things that AI gets confused about.
AI stuff looks very filtery and very like way too perfect or way too weird to like be real. The makeup will look perfect and the lighting is perfect and the angle is perfect. Like that's not usually what happens in human photos.
You're just picking images that other people are going to see and compare themselves to. Part of me wishes that there were more, realistically human characteristics.
Like everything, there are limitations to where the technology is today from an image generation standpoint and how raw that looks. What can we do that's proprietary to make some of these images a little bit more real?
The Partnership on AI, a nonprofit coalition committed to responsible use of AI, has created a set of guidelines for social media companies to ethically distribute and label AI generated content.
There's a general push in the field for broader transparency about identifying and noting to audiences in different contexts. You want to know that what you are seeing is truthful in terms of the narrative and what they're presenting, not necessarily just the tool that they used to do that.
Meta says they label photorealistic images created using their own AI tool, but they don't require users to label AI generated influencers created using other tools. Users on TikTok must clearly disclose all realistic AI content. And both platforms say they are working on tools that could detect and automatically label AI content.
There's a visceral appeal to putting a little mark on TikTok or a mark on Instagram that says this is fake. But whether or not people care and whether or not that will be applied in a context that matters is a big open question.
AI is going to become more and more like prominent kind of in like social media world and just like society in general. So I think it's like good that like younger people and older people too like get to like play around with that.
In a 2023 study, more than half of a group of influencers polled said they were already using AI as part of their work. 34% said they used it to generate images or videos.
Ultimately, I'm personally able to like understand what's real and what's not. Seeing it used in like a creative way makes me kind of, hopeful that it's not, being used to just like destroy artists and all this terrible stuff that you think about.
Just because something's AI generated doesn't mean it's problematic or deceptive. We need to make sure that while it may seem fine for influencers to be, saying that this new lip gloss is really meaningful, we don't want that same technology to be used to cast doubt on.
Ladies, what do you think?
Well, it's for. I'll go first if it's okay, because one of the stories, and I'll mention it now. It's not really social media, but ties into this. Is that 200 musicians just signed an open letter calling on tech companies and developers to not undermine human creativity with AI music generation tools. Big artists like Billie Eilish, the Bob Marley Estate, John Bon Jovi, Imagine Dragons, Nicki Minaj, Miranda, Katy Perry, and all of those. So this is what they're saying. When used irresponsibly, AI poses enormous threats to our ability to protect our privacies, our identities, our music, and our livelihoods. Some of the biggest and most powerful companies are, without permission, using our work to train AI models. For many working musicians, artists, and songwriters who are just trying to make ends meet, this would be catastrophic. So they just had this letter, and we talked before about the other, what was it, last year, that they had this, I forgot who it was, a bunch of people saying put the 6-month pause on AI. Was it 2023? And that didn't happen. So this is going to continue, and this is why I bring up the stories about Meta putting oh, sorry, I gotta hold on. Okay. Yeah. Oh, that's nothing. Okay. So Meta putting a watermark on Meta putting a watermark on the content that you make with the Meta AI image generator. Somebody else has watermark. No, I think it was TikTok and somebody else YouTube, and they all have a varying thing of, if you upload AI content to our platform, you must self-identify it as AI now. But they will get to a point where if you upload or create AI generated information to share online, it will be automatically stamped as AI generated, because like she said in the piece, that it's now the tools are so good to where you won't be able to tell.
You can't tell. Yeah.
You won't be able to tell if it's a real person or not. So there will be things in place to say that this is AI generated. So that's why I'm like, I'm not really worried.
Right.
And also we're getting into, because it's an election cycle, and they're starting to do things with I think there was some picture of Biden that the other side had him some crazy mess, and I'm like, let them, because this is where the government will step in. And I said this before, I didn't know what it was going to be, that there was going to be something where everything will have a stamp of approval. I said the good housekeeping seal, but now you're seeing that it is going to be AI led. And all the stuff that's AI will be automatically labeled because of the misinformation, the propaganda, one side doing this, and all of that in the mix. So that's why I'm like, let it happen. Let the AI influencers happen. Let them put out misinformation around the election cycle about this candidate or that candidate, because that stirs up the government to make it, okay, we got to do this. And then also they get on Meta and Google and OpenAI. They already have a committee where they talk about these things, and they hold OpenAI's feet to the fire, Meta's feet to the fire, and say, you must put something in that tells the average American, and it's going to be worldwide, this is AI generated. So they don't have to guess. You don't have to wonder. You won't get tricked. There won't be misinformation, hackers, spoofing, all of those things, because all of these things will be used to trick people out of their money, cause them to take their lives, all kind of things. So these things must happen in order for the entities that rule the world to say this has to be marked as AI. And remember, you brought up the thing about the AI news channel, the news journalist.
Channel 1. Yeah.
There's going to be, okay, you can use those tools, businesses and brands, but they must be stamped. This is an AI person. This is an AI entity. This is an AI influencer. Because we're going to get to the point in the world where those things look crazy now, but they're going to become a part of our reality. And we're not going to think twice about it, because they'll be a stamp. If it's used responsibly by a business or a company, they will put out information that is useful. So think about how they have to make commercials now, or they have to make content to sell a product or a service. It takes a lot of people. It takes stylists and photographers and directors. AI is going to take all of that out of the equation, and it'll be one person that makes a whole studio production commercial with the Mercedes or whatever the things that they do now. So that ties into people like, oh, my job is going away. Yes, your job is going away because it's redundancy. So that means that you're going to have to figure out, how do I become a part of this new wave of creating content, or I have to figure out something else to do. That's just how it is.
Right. And that's the first cry for most people. Oh, my job. Okay. You pivot. Is it live or is it Memorex?
All those things we said before. And here's another thing that I was thinking about. Remember the transition between the cheesemonger, the butcher, the this and that, and back in the day, and then mass production came along with factories.
Right.
And so instead of you going to this store, that store, or buying this artisan one thing, things were mass produced. And it was easier for us to buy, to go to the supermarket or go here, because everything was mass produced and brought to us. But there was a time in the world when those things weren't mass produced. there wasn't a grocery store. You went down the road to the farm and bought the pig, and they, did what they did to it, and then you came home with pork chops. And that process was labor intensive and took a lot out of the process. So now they have chicken processors and pork processors, and they they do all that for you, and things turn, and it goes to the store, and you're good. So that's where we are now.
Well, I can remember those processes because my grandparents lived in the country. We went to the egg farm. We went to the
my grandma had a farm. Yeah, I know all about that
to
stuff.
the dairy farm.
You had
the
the animals.
slaughterhouse.
Yeah.
All of that. Yeah. So
yeah. My grandmother, they had pigs,
and
and
we
when it was
survived
the
it all,
coldest day,
right?
when it was the coldest day, that's when I'm like a little kid going like, what are they doing?
Exactly.
That's when they took the thing, took the animal and hung him up, and I was like, oh, that's what's happening. But see, we don't see that process anymore because you go to the grocery store. And I remember I told my mom, I was like, I like my chicken in the little pack. And she would tell me, as that as a child, she had to go to the farm and get, they wanted chicken. Well, pick one and do what you gotta do to it. And I'm like,
pluck one, pick one, pluck one. Yeah.
No, thank you. No, thank you. I like my chicken in that yellow pack in the grocery store. So I say that because that's the process we're at now, where content and reaching a consumer and selling things is going to be this AI influencer, and we're not going to care because it's going to do the job correctly.
Because we care about convenience.
Yes.
More than we care about, it's not real, or blah, blah,
we don't
blah.
care about how the chicken got to the grocery store and the pack. There's a whole process of how that meat gets processed.
Some cases we don't care if the chicken is synthetic.
Well, I care. I mean, but I mean, the labor that went into you. Because a lot of kids, especially kids, they're like, well, they just go to the. I remember this other story real quick that my niece and nephew, when they were little, and we were like, I was taking them somewhere, and they were like, and I was like, oh, I don't have any money or something. They was like, well, go to the ATM and get. I was like, well, there has to be money in there for it to come out. All they knew was that their parents went to this machine and pressed some buttons and the money spit out. They didn't think about how the money got in there because you had to have a job and work a job and get paid. So that's what I mean about like the chicken and the meat. You just go there and you don't think about what was butchered because you don't see that. So this is the same thing with AI. You're not going to care because it's going to be manufacturing a process to give you what you want, and you don't care how you made it.
It's all about the result.
That's what's happening with technology now. The kids coming up right now, they don't know that you had to program and
they don't care. And another part is they don't care.
They really don't. We just want the end product to happen.
Right. And I just want I don't know Popeye chicken sandwich. I don't care how it got into the.
I don't think that's any different from any other generation. We don't care how we don't care how the electricity got in the wall or indoor plumbing or.
That's what I mean. There was there's a show on Max called The Gilded Age, and they talk about the process, life in New York City before electricity, because they even had a show where it was like a big thing where they went to see the lights come on. Like outside lights that they didn't have to, that because they had men that went and lit the gas lamps every night.
That's true, huh?
So when electricity came along, and it was a big deal. Oh, okay. We had an earthquake today, so I got a little thing going off.
Yes.
Hold on, let me see. Okay. Yeah, we had a little earthquake today.
4.7.
Listen, honestly, I didn't feel it. My daughter was like, what was that? And I was like, what was what? That's how tiny it was to me. I didn't even feel it.
Okay, see, this is the thing, because we normally don't get earthquakes on that side of the country.
Right.
It's normally over here where we are that we get little jolts and stuff.
Right. No, but it was, I'm just telling you, because the last earthquake we had was maybe 15 years ago or so. And I felt that one. And I was sitting in my chair and it was like a little wobble. And I was like, what?
Yes.
And that's how small it was. It was like a wobble. And it was like, what was that? And you went about your business. So this time I didn't even feel it. Like I was like, what? So
And this is what's happening with the AI. We're not going to feel it. We're just going to be like,
you're not going to know. And that's a good thing and a bad thing, because society has to progress and we have to move on, and technology is doing that.
And it's going to make it where you're going to need to do your due diligence as a person when you go online or watch anything. You got to keep in the back of your mind, this may be AI generated. If they fail to have put, until they get the distinguishing mark, like you were talking about, you got to keep in the back of your mind, this may be AI generated.
Right.
And you need to, okay. And then you always consider the source.
Yes.
Okay, is this a credible source? Even if they use AI to bring me this information, is this a credible source?
Right. And see, we're in a place now where, and especially if you're of a certain age, you're like, okay, that's, it's not reality for us. But like you said, Gen Z, Gen Alpha, they grow up in this. So it doesn't faze them to see an AI generated person talking to them online, or an AI generated journalist on the news, because it's about the message. It's about what they're saying.
Right.
So, I mean, I know a lot of people that are upset about it and like, oh, it's, the end of the world, the sky's falling. And I'm like, well, they said that when they went from gas lamps outside to electricity in their homes.
Yes.
It was the same thing in the 1800s. It was the same thing after World War II, when it was mass produced, this and that, and the women weren't in fact. It was a time when women didn't work. It was a thing where the woman did not work. Now we're in a different space because things happen to generate the change. So I'm not saying it's perfect, but this is where we are. This is where we are. So the AI influencer doesn't scare me, because I know there's going to be something that said this is an AI generated image, person, whatever. But the way that a business or brand or corporation uses it, responsibility, the message will always be for humans, and it will be said in the correct way.
And last week, our message, because we were on Easter break, our stuff was AI generated.
Yeah. So what was wrong with it? I thought it was great.
Yeah, because I searched credible, the stories came in, credible stories. We put it through the technology and it created what we needed.
Yeah, and see, that's the process part of the, the pig going from the farm to your table, that the process. So the process doesn't matter. How you get it, what happens at the end, is it what you want matters.
Yep.
So we're going to get to a point where it's going to be like, AI, ha ha ha,
And we don't care.
Right, we don't care unless, and see, because the government's going to look at, especially how it affects misinformation, disinformation around governments and entities, and because the election cycle is happening now in the US, and that's what is going to drive it. All of these things that people do wrong, the criminals and they're going to be stopped, and it's going to be a learning lesson to, okay, they might do X, let's do Y. Let's have the fix in place for the bad actor that's going to try to,
In my industry, for real estate, there's companies that will, like, you can take an empty room and put furniture in the room.
Yeah.
We have to put in there a disclaimer saying this photo has been virtually staged.
Yes.
But we have to identify that, because people come, because you can change the paint color on the walls, you can do different things and make the house look good. But then when you get to the house and you're going like, wait, this is
right, because that
worse.
stuff is for the buyer to visualize themselves living in the house. because
Mhm.
it's empty. It's white walls. It's empty, and people walk in and they go, "Well, I don't know," and then you could say, "Wait, what's your favorite color, or what's your style, or this or that?" Push a button, and they instantly see the room as they want it, and then that's a shortcut to them buying quicker because they can see themselves living in the house as it might be decorated by them or the way that they want it to look.
And then on the other side of that, there are homes that are packed to the rafters with clutter, and then the AI can take all of that out. So all you see is the empty room.
Right. And so the person doesn't have to move their stuff out when
Correct.
they're selling. They could just, and those aren't tricks. Those are everything now is because it's visual things that make people buy. How do
Right.
you get someone to buy your product or your service? They have to imagine themselves
That
in
part.
it, doing it, eating it, consuming it. They have to put themselves in there. That's how people buy. That's why I always talk about human behavior and studies about marketing and what gets people to buy. It's because they have to visually put their mind into that's the thing for me. It's going to improve my life and I can see myself in it. I'm ready to buy. They have to see themselves in the car. They have to see themselves in the house, in the clothing, in whatever it is. And
And
it's going to be easier to do that with AI.
right. And that's the same thing like when you're looking at the commercial for getting involved at a gym, they
Mhm.
put a person that is relatively fit on the
Yes.
equipment. Not
Yes.
to say that they're overly done, but they put
Right.
people who
The
are
end, you show the end product. And I had a
exactly
client that I used to talk about this all the time, that they was in this profession where it was like, okay, they took this and turned it. I was like, you can never show the before because that does not get anyone to come in, even
nope.
though that's their current situation. They need to see themselves at the end after all the beautification, all the things are done. Because then they go, oh, I want to look like that. How do I do that? And you're the person showing them the
Right.
end result. So they come to you for investigation, for more information. They're ready to buy. It depends on what stage they're in.
Correct.
So I could never get that client to see that. And unfortunately, whatever. But you always want to show the after, the
Hmm.
beautiful part of it. And the gym example is one of those things where if you show the beginning, the struggle, no one will come into the gym because
Because nobody wants to do all of that.
even though
We have to.
we know we have to do the this and we know we have to do it. We're not stupid. It's just the visualization of it. If you show the beauty and not the beast. You have to show the beauty and not the beast to get people to buy. So
Okay, so I know I need to, if I want to end up over there, okay,
you never show the well, this is them with the zits or the this or I know I have zits or this or I know what's going on. Show me the end. Show me the Cinderella part.
right,
That's why those movies in Hollywood, those movies always do well. Where's the what is it, Pretty Woman and all that? Because you're showing the beautiful part at the end. Like, oh, they went through this horrible thing, but it
hmm
worked out in the end. That's what you have to do. It's not fake. It's not
no,
false because they could look like that at the end. Not
right.
a promise.
Oh,
It's
you're
a
so
concept.
we're showing you the possibilities.
Possibilities. And then as humans, we go, I could possibly look like that.
Hmm.
Hmm. And that's where you want them to be. So the AI stuff, it doesn't bother me. I know a lot of people are freaked out and scared. And I understand that, but don't be scared because they're
I
put things in place.
Yeah, I think the thing that I found interesting about this segment was the fact that it's a study, it's a
Mhm.
beta program, and they had
Mhm.
teenagers in it.
Mhm.
And I said, "Oh, okay, that makes sense."
Yeah.
Well, we're not gonna put 78-year-old somebody else in there to do.
They had millennials also, and so people in their 40s. But
Mhm.
I thought it was interesting to see the
To see
teens
also millennials,
included. A lot
they
of
they
times they
did
don't
yeah,
include them.
So remember, millennials didn't exactly grow up all digital, but they were somewhat digital. So they are more susceptible to accepting it, whereas somebody in the silent generation or older boomers would not see, because we still, you're still living in an analog world because you grew up in an analog world. Grew up with paper and pencil.
Right. And see, I think a lot of times that with this study that they're doing, they put a mixture because somebody got to have some wisdom. The kids on the other end who just came up with the devices and stuff don't have a clue about some stuff.
Right.
And you need somebody to be able to say something like, you might want to consider this aspect.
Right, because of the experience of going through it, and I have some neighbors that I talk to about that. Like they're, some of them, I retired from, and I always ask them, what did you retire from? Because you're thinking, well, here comes the younger crowd, I'm not needed anymore. I'm like, no, your expertise, your experience is needed. You just have to package it in today's packaging of technology and digital. Like, instead of this was the thing, you went to meetings, you had to get on a plane and go to this place. Now we're in a world where you don't get on a plane to go to a meeting or an event, or you can, but most of them are done like this with technology. So it's always about the knowledge and the information that you have to share, and not the way that we do it. That way changes. So I always talk to them about it. And they, I have one neighbor in here that I talk to all the time, and she's getting it. I'm like, she's not really there yet, but it's okay.
Right.
It's okay.
So that was good stuff. The AI is here to help us.
Yeah. So I'm not saying it's perfect. It's not. We gotta.
Look, we were talking about the combustible engine in the tech history. That wasn't too safe.
It wasn't.
How to start that car. Yes.
The Oppenheimer movie, I haven't watched it yet, but I mean, I know what it's about. That wasn't safe.
It was not. There was some stuff when we started out.
Nuclear energy wasn't safe, but it was done. So,
right.
I don't know why it's like, people thinking, well, AI is the end of the world, and I'm like, no, it's just things are going to be done differently. You still do what you do.
Right.
I don't think it's the end of the world, and there are so many companies that will help you build a virtual influencer, a synthetic influencer.
Right.
Because I can see how this can help, having like for your company spokesperson, right? You don't have to be the spokesperson anymore. You can have
or you don't even have to have the budget to hire
a spokesperson.
Yes.
You could be a small business owner of one or two and go, well, I need this team or that team or whatever. And AI comes to your rescue. Again, it's not perfect. You got to know what you're doing. It's like a car. You can't, that's why a 9-year-old doesn't drive a car. Even though I read the story this week about some 9-year-old, they pulled over the car. I think it was in California somewhere. They pulled the car over and it was a 9-year-old kid in it talking about, I missed the bus. I got to go to school. 9-year-old kid.
He was not. He's like, I am not gonna be true.
I got to get to school. But see, that's what I mean. It's like, you're not going to, we're not going to have that situation.
Let us pray. Okay.
I just thought that was cool. And thank God nothing happened. Nothing happened. Like no accidents. They didn't hit any. But the officer that pulled the child over was like,
you're a little short.
Wow. So
can you see over that wheel? Okay.
But that's an enterprising kid. I mean, that kid needs, that the parents, after they, do whatever their discipline, and they need to take that kid is forward thinking, which is what
give him an award for perfect attendance.
He knows how to figure something out. He's like, I got to get to school. How? Well, I see mom and dad driving this car and then put the thing in, and then don't they have the cars now without the keys? And so I don't know what the car was.
Yeah, because if it's, well, I don't know about all of them, but some of them, like I can drive my daughter's car just with my phone. I could
Right.
just get in.
So see, that's what I mean. I don't know if it was the keyless, whatever, but I just thought this story was just so. This kid was like, I got to get to school.
Enterprising.
Enterprising, yeah. So yeah, it's an exciting world. So
there you go. So
yeah.
that's what I wanted to share with you
Oh,
guys. And I'm glad
okay.
it stimulated conversation.
As always.
So I am yielding the the stage to TJ. TJ, we had a
Okay, I'm
conversation
ready.
about coffee too, but that's a whole nother world.
Okay, so let's talk about the social media updates for this week. We have a few stories. So let's start with this one we have not talked about in a while. It's called Artifact. Does anybody remember that app?
I remember Artifact. I have it. I haven't used it since we
Yeah,
talked
so
about
let
it.
me tell you what's going on with that. I have it too. I was using it, but what happened in January, they shut down the app. And remember, this app was launched in early 2023 by I think it was Mike Systrom and Mike Creek. They were the founders of Instagram. And then remember, Instagram, Meta, Facebook bought them, now they're Meta. They stayed for a while and then they left, and it was a big discussion about why they left. So then they started this app. And it was news aggregated stories and things and this and that. So but they shut it down in January, which I didn't know. And I went to look. I still have the app on my phone, so I went to it and it had a big note about them shutting down. But the news this week is that Yahoo has bought the Artifact News app. But it won't stay Artifact. It's going to be integrated into their other brands. So they own Yahoo owns TechCrunch, Engadget, Yahoo Finance. So they're saying Artifact's AI-powered recommendation engine and other features will help scale its news operations and deliver personalized content to audiences. So that's really what was the Artifact was, that it was like whatever news you liked. It was AI generated, and they would, give you, when you went into the app, you got the news that you were interested, the topics that you were interested in. So it knew to give you that. Like if I go in, I don't want sports or golf, I want tech and business. So whenever I went in, it was tech and business, new stuff. So Yahoo buys them, but they're going to integrate it into what they already have. So, and Yahoo's pretty good. I always forget to go to them. And I'll say this because the Yahoo app, something with the Yahoo app is happening that I went in and they were like, you got to go to the weather. Some craziness they were telling me. I was like, you guys got to get it together. You got to be like Google. When I go to Google, boom, everything pops up. Don't tell me to go over here and go over there. So maybe this is a sign that they're starting to integrate all the things that they have, because Yahoo is news, weather, finance, sports, entertainment. They got a lot of things going on, so hopefully they can tie it all up into one bow. All right, so let's talk about WhatsApp. WhatsApp is introducing a picture-in-picture feature for videos. So they have a picture-in-picture PIP mode for video calls. This enables users to shrink their video call window, allowing for seamless multitasking while navigating other applications on their phone. They're saying with PIP, you can minimize the video call window into a movable, resizable miniature version. This allows you to maintain visual contact with your friends and continue hearing the conversation while you're doing other things. Now, yeah, I do this with YouTube. Like if you've done it, you go to YouTube, watch a video, and you can minimize it, and then it's a little floating window, and then you can use your phone. So I'm assuming that that's what this is. So they're doing that in WhatsApp. If you use WhatsApp, there you go. Something you're looking for.
Why? Okay, never mind.
Yeah, it's like why. All right. So speaking of back to AI, generative AI, OpenAI is making Chat GPT accessible without requiring signups. So if you want to use Chat GPT, you don't have to sign up.
Well, now that just lowered the bar to keep people. You get more and more usage now.
Yes.
Instead
but
of
there's a catch. You don't get all of the benefits of having a signed in account. And you definitely don't get the benefits of having a paid account.
Right.
Okay.
But they still have the corner on the market.
Right. You can it's a way for them, like you said, to onboard and to get them to, well, what is open chat GPT, and I could just go in and use it. Perplexity is another AI platform that does that. Claude, I think it's Claude is another one. The Microsoft Copilot is like that you just go in and I believe you can use, you don't have to sign up. But there are benefits to having a signed in account. So they're saying that OpenAI is going to introduce additional content safeguards for users accessing ChatGPT without signing up, such as blocking prompts and generations in a wider range of categories. It did not specify the category, so they're going to have some kind of limitations. So they haven't gone into detail, but I expect this because if I'm paying for it, I have to have a level of service, VIP service, that a person that doesn't have to sign in do. So there's, I'm not sure how they're doing this, but there's going to be limitations, and I'm guessing that the one that you don't have to sign up in or sign up for is going to be the lower tier of 3.5, which is now ChatGPT is working on level 5. Right now they're on version 4 turbo, which is between 4 and 5. So they have a 3.5, which is their lowest level, so to speak. So I'm assuming that, because there's not much detail here. They're just saying that they're not going to require people to sign up with an email to use it. And that's going to, like Fran said, open the platform up to people who haven't used it yet, don't know about it, and signing up with an email is a roadblock. So they're removing the roadblock. So we'll see how that goes. All right. Just a few more. Not much this week. I guess everybody is still on their Easter break.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So let me see. I believe, yes, Instagram adds a new notify sticker to help creators maximize connection with the fans. They have a new notify sticker. Creators will be able to prompt their audience to set a reminder to ensure that they see their upcoming posts. Once a viewer taps on the notify sticker, they'll be able to choose which elements they get notifications about, which could be okay. So they're saying that this is a way for, one of the things that people want in Instagram is all of their followers to see all of their posts. And Instagram says that's never going to happen, but here's something that's going to help you. So this is what they're saying. They're saying nobody reaches all of their followers when they post, primarily for two reasons. One, a lot of your followers won't open the app that day. And two, those who do log in have far more posts to see than they have time to spend, and don't scroll down far enough to get to every post. And I think I said this before, that when people go to your Instagram profile, they're not looking at everything. They're not looking at something from 3 years ago, 2 years ago, whatever. So you need to repost. And you could repost with the same graphic or make an update graphic or however you want to do it. But there's no one but you going, well, I posted that 6 months ago. No, who saw it? Repost it. Because every time you repost it, there's a new set of eyes. So this also sets back the bar of, well, I gotta create something today. What do I create? Well, you can go back and say, well, that post did pretty well. Look at your analytics. That post did very well. Let me repost it as is, or let me change a word, or let me go to ChatGPT or Copilot or something and tell it to rewrite it, or one of those things. Put a new graphic on it or not, and post it. That's what they're saying here.
What I like about this right here, because all the people who were crying about nobody's seeing my post. Well, here's the thing. If they click to get notified, they will see your post. Now,
Right.
if they don't click to get notified, maybe we don't want to see your post.
And this gets into, like I always tell you, that if someone wants your content, they will make an effort.
Right.
It's like being a fan of a celebrity or a singer.
Mhm.
When they put out an album, don't you already know about it. You know when it drops. You go and listen. You know when the concert is. Oh, they're going on tour. You make sure though. So those things apply here with your content, especially on social media. If you got followers that are invested in you, they will follow you. They will see your post because they're interacting with it, and that's a signal to Instagram that, hey, you and this person, you guys are connected, because that person is consuming your content all the time. Every time you post, they're liking it. They don't even have to comment. A like, a look, a pause, a read. Those touches, Instagram is gauging that. So, and again, they said right here out of their mouths that everybody cannot see every post. There's so much stuff going on. Everybody's not gonna see every post. So
But they made a way for you to tell your followers, if you want to know what I got coming up next, be sure to turn on your notification.
Right. And they already had something before called favorites. Anybody remember the Instagram favorites, where you go to the person that you like and I think you hit a star or something, and then you always get to see their stuff? That's always been there, but nobody wants to use it. So now Instagram is like, we're tired of you guys crying. Here's another thing to do. Here's another thing to put on. So, I mean, Instagram's like, what do you want me to do? So here we go. So here's something to keep you guys happy. Now, going on to Facebook. Facebook is integrating a vertical first video player. What this is in a nutshell is that all the video will be vertical, and if you put up a horizontal, they will automatically turn it. I think TikTok was doing this.
Right. So now Facebook switched up vertical, and they wanted everybody to flip it to horizontal. Right. And now they're saying, okay, we're going back to vertical.
Right. So this upgraded player is going to streamline the experience for both watching and sharing video content. It will default to showing videos in vertical mode, and will also allow Facebook to recommend the most relevant video to watch next, no matter what type of video that may be long, short, or live. So Meta is making all videos in the Reels fashion, if you understand what I'm saying.
Yep.
Like, you can put up horizontal, but they will make it Reels. Everything they're focusing on Reel style, which is TikTok style. Yep. And you can create the video in Reel style, vertical format, and then upload it, or they will do it after the fact. Is basically what this is.
Right.
So here's what Facebook says. When you tap on a video anywhere on the Facebook app, you'll now consistently see a full screen, vertically oriented video. Previously, depending on the length of the video or where you were watching, you may have seen horizontal videos or videos that played in a feed-like player. So they're saying that they're switching over. You don't have to switch your video over, but we're switching it over to vertical, because that's what people are used to. That's what they're liking, because they're on YouTube Shorts video, vertical video, or they're on TikTok vertical video. So Instagram and Facebook is doing the same thing. Okay. One more from Meta. So Meta is going to pay Threads creators for engaging content based on performance. Now, this is Threads, the Threads app. You may be able to earn money from your most popular thread posts because of this. A new invite-only bonus program could earn you cash based on the number of thread posts you create and their engagement. So this is going to be based on paid out only to thread posts with 2,500 or more views. Now, the company didn't go into any details about it, but they have a page for this, a thread support page that has details on it. And this is one of the quotes. The Thread Bonus is an invite-only bonus program that lets you earn money on your Threads content. If you are invited, you will receive a pop-up notification and an invite that appears in your professional dashboard on the Instagram app. Here's some other rules. Your Threads profile must be public. Your Instagram profile must be a professional one, either business or creator. That means it can't be a personal. If Meta asks you to join the bonus program, you will see a pop-up and an invitation to it will be in your professional dashboard. And then that way you join the Threads creator app. Okay, so that's the deal. And I also read some things that the payout is like there's a certain threshold you have to reach before they pay out the money from the bonus program and a couple other things. But you have to have thread posts with 2,500 or more views. Anything less than that, you're not going to get invited. You're not going to be a part of this program.
Wonderful.
So, I've talked about how I feel about these creator programs from Meta and TikTok. The only one that's worth doing anything for is YouTube, my opinion. I always say we're in the creator. I talk about the creator economy. We're in this world where you create the things that your audience wants, and then you set up a system to where they pay you for that. Versus trying to get these views, trying to get pennies, or you get pennies on a view on TikTok, and you're on this hamster wheel content creation trying to get the money from these platforms. And then remember, Snapchat used to have was it $1 million a day they did years ago? Well, they saw, we were giving out too much money, so they stopped that.
Mm-hmm.
So what does that say? That says to me, it's like, okay, wait a minute. They want you to be on creating content. They don't want to pay you for it. So you turn the tables on them. This is a broadcast platform. You got a megaphone. You hit a network, build your audience, and sell them the products that you make digitally or physically. Either one.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the process. Instead of waiting for them to give you something from the creator program from Instagram or TikTok or Facebook or no. That's my opinion. But people are gonna do what they're gonna do. And Instagram is like, okay, we need content. This is how we get you guys to make us more content.
Mm-hmm.
We can show more ads and make more money. Because that's the bottom line for them. And let me check. I think that is it. Do I have one more? No, that's it. Like I said, a short week. Probably because of the holidays.
Probably. Mm-hmm.
Yep. People are just now getting back into the swing of things.
Mm-hmm.
And we just want to thank you all for watching live and on the replay, joining us for this week in tech news and social media. We will be back on Monday with coffee, tea, thoughts, conversations. And if you'd like to become a part of the BizChicks community, you can do so by texting biz to 33777, or you can go to bizchicks.net. It doesn't cost you anything to become a part of the community. We want to share your voice. We want to share your passion, share what it is that you do with the rest of the rest of the world. We want to thank you again, TJ. You can follow TJ at Terry Johnson online all over, everywhere. TerryJohnsonOnline.com/info. Get connected, ask her questions. She's here to help. She'll be back on Tuesday with social media marketing and social media and digital marketing strategies and stats and things that you need to know to keep you building a profitable business that's fun to run, because we are here to help take the hassle out of your hustle.
Mm-hmm.
So, ladies, any final comments to our audience?
We just hope that you have a great weekend, guys. We'll see you back here. And we hope that you will continue to grow in your business. Have a great day, everyone.
Thank you, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
you.